Hello out there, everybody. Manny here at Area 503. And I hope you all have been well since our last video.
Today I've got some pretty interesting UFO sightings to share with you. And while none of these sightings are actually authentic as far as the Pentagon or the DoD is concerned, I think they're interesting and like to show them to you anyhow. Let's get started. The first one was sent into the channel by a friend of mine by the name of Game Vet. Let's take a look at what he filmed. So Game Vet was outside scanning the skies like he normally does, looking for UFOs and strange flying objects. Good job, Doug, by the way. So he looks up and he sees a couple of strange orbs that are flying by, and they caught his attention. Here's one of them right now. It really looks like these things are moving in a straight line to me, so they're probably some kind of satellite. But it's good that he's keeping an eye on them, because if they make any sort of rapid course change, then we could start to look at them as possible UFOs. But like I said, it's a good thing that Game Vet decided to stay out there and film more footage. He did get a good 10 minutes of footage on this particular sighting, which is awesome because all too often nowadays people are releasing 10 and 20 second clips of UFOs and you get no context. So you never get to see the UFOs coming or leaving, and you never get to see what happens after the sighting. But Game Vet stuck around and he was rewarded for his patience. Check out what Game Vet recorded here when he pans over to the left. Those look suspiciously like a line of Starlink satellites being deployed. But like I said earlier, if Game Vet hadn't stuck around long enough to film this, we would have never seen these and known what those initial UFOs most likely were. You know, and that brings me to a point about the footage that's been going around recently in the mainstream media that shows a UFO diving under the water. I mean, Game Vet posted a full 10 minutes of him viewing this UFO sighting in its entirety for us to look at and investigate. He was willing to answer questions about the time and date of the sighting, and he is actually the one who shot the footage as well, giving him first-hand credibility. None of those statements are true with the recent so-called authentic UFO footage that's been floating around the mainstream, so keep that in mind. And I'd like to give a big shout out and thank you to Game Vet for sending this footage into me and for letting me use it here in this video. I'll put a link to his channel in the description for this video, so if you want to go take a look at the original footage for this sighting or take a peek at some of his other work, you can. You know, in this one single act of UFO research by posting this 10-minute video, you've proven to me that you're a far superior UFO researcher than Jeremy Corbell. Because no matter what you might want to believe about a piece of footage you shot, in the end, you're really looking for the truth. And that's more than I can say about him. So keep it up, man. You're doing great work out there. Thanks again for posting this footage online. It should help some people identify what Starlink satellites are when they see them. So hopefully they don't confuse them for UFOs. And with that, we'll move along to our next sighting. A man was out taking selfies.
I'm too sexy for my shirt. Too sexy for my shirt. So sexy it hurts.
Well, I've got no idea if the guy got any modeling gigs out of this photo shoot. However, he thinks he got a couple of UFOs. But he never saw the UFOs in person and only noticed them in the photos when he was reviewing them later. Which right off the bat makes me think of a lens flare, because you don't see those with the naked eye, but they show up on the camera. Let's push up on it and take a better look. Yeah, it does kind of look like a UFO. Maybe even the spaceship from the Metroid series of games. Or possibly even a flying manta ray. I'm really leaning towards it being a lens flare, maybe from the car down here. That definitely would fit all the evidence. But let's look at this other picture where there's only one dot instead of two. That could possibly be from the car as well, or maybe from this street lamp over on the side. It's hard to tell. But either way, it definitely looks like a lens flare to me. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section down below, and we will move along to our next sighting, which was captured over the skies of Alaska on a SkyHub machine. Wow! Check this out. something metallic is spinning down out of control, and it looks like there's a few pieces flying off of it as well. You can see why this footage definitely caught my eye. It's interesting for sure, but I'm also a huge fan of the SkyHub UFO tracker. I'm going to leave a link for the SkyHub project in the description for this video, so if you want to go read up on that, you can do so. But in a nutshell, the SkyHub UFO tracking program is a 24/7 UFO surveillance project that scans the skies using cameras and then sends all the data to a centralized source to be analyzed by a machine learning artificial intelligence, whose sole purpose is to figure out what these UFOs are. What's not to like about that project, right? I featured this footage in one of my Area 503 work parties where I invited everyone to come track a UFO with me live and in real time. It was fun. If you missed it, I'll put a link to it up in the corner so you can check it out when you're done here. And I'm planning more work parties in the future, so if you missed out on the last one, make sure to catch the next one. It took me a while, but ultimately the owner of this footage did contact me and give me permission to use it, so let's take a peek and see if we can help them identify what they saw here. Right off the bat, I was able to track the original UFO, but I also found 4 other smaller objects that were coming down with it. The main part of the object looked like a parachute to me, and I thought that because it looked like it was 2 pieces that were connected by cabling of some kind. With that being said, I suppose that it's also possible that this could be some kind of an atmospheric or communications balloon that's coming down as well. Those might also have something tethered to the bottom. And quite frankly, I hope that either one of those is the case, because if this is a human being coming down with a parachute that has for some reason failed, well, by golly, they're in a whole world of trouble. So I hope that's not the case. Whatever this thing is, it's definitely breaking up, as there's at least 5 parts that I tracked at the beginning of this sighting. It was hard to get some of these pieces tracked as they dipped in and out of the clouds, but I can tell you there was definitely something up there, and it was definitely coming down. And not in one piece, which is interesting because the witness had told me that they had gone out to the location to try to find some of this debris, and they were unable to find anything. Huh? Well, that's damn strange. With as big and as bright as this thing is, you think you'd be able to recover some of it. Huh. It almost makes you wonder if someone else got there before they did and recovered all the debris first. Well, there's no evidence of that, so it's pure speculation, but wouldn't be the strangest thing I've heard of. Anyhow, what do you guys think that was filmed by the SkyHub machine over Alaska? Let us know in the comment section down below, and we'll go ahead and move along to our next sighting. I know what you guys might be thinking. Hey Manny, why are you pulling a Corbell and showing us cell phone footage of a UFO on a monitor or camera? What's up with that? Well, I'm showing this to you because I want you to know that the person who took this video is also the same person who took the photos that I'm about to show you. And it's also the same person who witnessed and reported this UFO. Now that, my friends, is a witness. Thank you very much. But what is it that they witnessed? Let's take a peek. Dare I play Captain Obvious here and say it looks like a mushroom-shaped UFO? Well, there you got it, folks. And I suspect people are going to think that this is a mushroom-shaped balloon of some kind, and I might agree with them. In fact, that's my only explanation. But one has to ask, how many mushroom-shaped balloons are flying around out there? Anyhow, I was able to clean this up a little bit. What do you guys think? Gotta admit, it looks like a mushroom-shaped balloon. Whatever this thing is, it clearly doesn't look like it poses any kind of threat. But like I said, the only thing that I can imagine this would be man-made is some sort of balloon. It doesn't look like a drone of any kind, and it certainly doesn't look like any known form of aircraft. And again, just to state the obvious, it's possible that this is a genuine UFO. What do you guys think it is? Let's get a bunch of eyes looking at this and see if we can positively identify it. I know what Lou would say it is. That's clearly a potential threat from a foreign adversary. Yeah, definitely looks threatening to me. Anyhow, I've got just one more UFO sighting that I wanted to show you folks. This one was sent in to me by a friend of mine named Tony, who asked if I'd investigate what is known as the Beaver, Utah UFO sighting of 2016, which became released to the public in late 2019. Watch what appears right down here. It's going to be fast. I told you. Let me run a couple of loops of it, so you guys can really get a feel for the movement of this object as the drone is flying by. So you can clearly see this white UFO come flying down, and it banks towards the drone and then cuts in front of it. Whatever this is, it's moving fast. And it seems to have some mass behind it, so I definitely don't think it's a bird or a bug. Well, let's slow this thing down and see if it looks any different. Here at 1/3 speed, you can get a better look at this thing flying on by, but it really doesn't help us identify it very much. Maybe messing with the color will help reveal a few details. Let's try that. Well, that sure doesn't seem to reveal much, does it? I guess the next thing to check is the metadata information for obvious signs of CGI tampering. Well, the bit rates and the codecs and the frame rates and everything else look legitimate here. But this is interesting. The geotagged information shows that the footage was shot at Beaver, Utah. However, Beaver, Utah is at about 5,000 feet. And this footage shows that it was shot at an altitude of about 12 feet. Now that was a huge red flag, and a lot of people thought that this footage was CGI because of that. However, I was able to look into the DJI site and find out that this particular drone actually measures its altitude from its launch point and not from sea level. So I guess it was back to square one on this one. So I really didn't know what to make at this point, and I remembered that my buddy Rich over at Gufon Radio Network had covered this sighting when it originally became public back in 2019, so I went over to his live stream and asked him about it, and he was kind enough to answer my question in the middle of his show, which I thank him for, and I'll put a link to that show in the description for this video, so you can go ahead and watch that if you'd like to, over at Gufon Radio. But the feeling that I got was that most people thought that this was a computer-generated image that was composited onto the drone footage. And I honestly don't have a hard time buying that explanation here, especially when you add to the fact that the witnesses who filmed this were actually filmmakers and were suspected of filming a second UFO after this one, and that both UFO sightings were possibly nothing more than a publicity stunt. Well, Tony, you asked me to look into the Beaver, Utah UFO sighting of 2016, and I did my best. What do you guys think about these sightings? What do you think about all of these sightings? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you haven't gotten a chance to subscribe to the channel yet, you better just go ahead and do that. I don't know why. Just because I'm asking you to. Anyways, that's all I got for UFO sightings, guys. I'll catch y'all later, and until next time, stay safe, be well, and be happy.
As always, this has been Manny at Area 503, and I wish you all the best until we meet again. And I am out of here to continue my search for universal truth.
I'm too sexy for my shirt, too sexy for my shirt, so sexy it hurts. And I'm too sexy for Milan, too sexy for Milan, New York and Japan. And I'm too sexy for your party, too sexy for your party.